Hey guys, what's going on? It's Eli, back with another review video, and that's right. You read the title of this review video, you know exactly what it is that I'm reviewing. And seeing as how, well, in celebration of this one visionary filmmaker, one of my top favorite directors, Tim Burton, yes. In celebration of Tim Burton's birthday, well, I'm reviewing something that is something of Tim Burton's. He directed it, and yeah, because people seem to, you know, for some people, they seem to forget that there was a time when Burton actually did some TV stuff. He directed some TV materials. I mean, you know, just like basically directing some episodes from certain shows, especially, you know, during the time when shows in the 1980s, because they were dark and scary and not, you know, not suitable for kids. But I think with this one show, in which he directed an episode of, obviously, you know, for kids, and besides, you know, it's about fairy tales, and yeah, so, yeah, and but also, this is also in dedication to, the late, great Shelley Duvall. Yep, because, well, I'm reviewing a show that Shelley Duvall created, and Tim Burton had directed an episode of it, which actually being the first episode of Season 5. So yes, I'm reviewing an episode from Shelley Duvall's Fairy Tale Theater, and that being Aladdin and His Wonderful Lamp. Yes. Episode 1 of Season 5 of Shelley Duvall's Fairy Tale Theater, Aladdin and His Wonderful Lamp. Yeah. Fun fact, because this is actually my first full episode of Shelley Duvall's Fairy Tale Theater that I've seen. I've known a little of Shelley Duvall's Fairy Tale Theater. Well, I mean, to put it this, because my earliest encounters and experience in knowing about Shelley Duvall's Fairy Tale Theater, well, I remember many times coming across its IMDb page when looking up, like, say, when I've looked up Tim Burton, any actors and that were a part of Shelley Duvall's Fairy Tale Theater, and until I dived in and got to know more about this, and knowing, because I didn't really know at first, that Shelley Duvall had created this show. And I've especially seen, I think, like 1 or 2 YouTube videos where there's a compilation of her saying, "Hello, I'm Shelley Duvall." And if you know what I'm talking about, and if you've seen those videos, those specific videos that I'm talking about. So, yeah. And I did check out a little bit of Shelley Duvall's Fairy Tale Theater. I watched bits and pieces of some of the episodes. Like, mainly, the one episode where the late legendary Paul Reubens plays the title character, Pinocchio, and the one where, the late legendary Robin Williams, is in the Froggy Prince? That one, yeah. And, it's interesting to know whom else was a part and, you know, guest starred in episodes of Shelley Duvall's Fairy Tale Theater. Well, because, all of them, they were pretty much, good friends of Shelley Duvall's, and, apparently because they were happy to do the show, and any episodes that they were in, what fairy tale the show was going to adapt, and I think, they mainly did the show for free, I want to say. Well, and best said by Shelley Duvall on the Arsenio Hall show, you know, because she stated that, well, and I think she had a good point. The actors / actresses, kids, they would want to see something that they're in, and yeah, this being a good example. So yeah, again, I've finally watched a full episode of the show, and that, of course, being Aladdin and His Wonderful Lamp. And the first things I have to say about episode 1, getting mixed up. The first things I have to say about episode 1, season 5 of Shelley Duvall's Fairy Tale Theater, Aladdin and His Wonderful Lamp. It was a pretty good one, I think. And, well, seeing as how it was directed by Tim Burton, and, well, obviously, Tim Burton was a good friend of Shelley Duvall's, and especially this is after Shelley Duvall had a great time working with Burton in the original Frankenweenie, the 1984 live-action short film. I just want to clarify, and because, well, we all know, of course, the, stop-motion animated Frankenweenie, so, so I think that, what Tim Burton brought to this episode, and, fairy tales, there's something right up Tim Burton's alley, because before he did that, he did the underrated short film, Hansel and Gretel, that only aired on Disney Channel once, which that's something I have reviewed if you want to go check that out. So, yeah, and I think what, Shelley Duvall's fairy tale theater brought to Aladdin's wonderful lamp, adapting the story of Aladdin. And keep in mind, because this episode came out in 1986, I think 6 or 7 years, yeah, I think I'm about right, before, as we all know, Disney's Aladdin. So, yeah. Alright, but enough said. As always, read the description / the story. A boy runs a fool of a wicked wizard when he discovers the secret of the genie in the lamp. Okay, so before I get into the episode itself, I want to talk more on some background and so on, yeah. So like I said, there was a time in the 1980s when Burton was doing some TV stuff, and before he would go on and to have a big success, with his filmmaking, starting with Pee-wee's Big Adventure and from there on. And this was just before. This was just before Pee-wee's Big Adventure. Because, yeah, around that time, and just before Pee-wee's Big Adventure, he was doing some TV stuff. Well, and like I said, obviously after Frankenweenie, Shelley Duvall, who had a great time working with Burton and being directed by him, obviously, and I think there's no doubt that she invited and brought Burton on board to direct an episode of her show, which of course being Shelley Duvall's Fairy Tale Theater. But not only that, other stuff he would do on TV, well, he would also direct an episode of Alfred Hitchcock's Presents, and that being the remake episode of The Jar. Because if any of you know, in the 1980s, Alfred Hitchcock Presents was brought back, and instead of telling, fresh new stories and such, they just basically did remakes of stories / episodes that were already told during, the good old days of, Alfred Hitchcock Presents. So again, Tim Burton directing an episode of Alfred Hitchcock Presents, and that was kind of pretty. That's pretty cool to see, I should say, that Burton did something that has to do with Alfred Hitchcock. Yeah. And also later on, because other TV stuff that Burton would do, well, he would find himself be involved in Family Dog, and working alongside with Steven Spielberg and Brad Bird, he started My Family Dog, and, well, because this happened while Brad and Tim were at Cal Arts, and, yeah, and if you know this. And I do recommend, and I'll put the name of the video in a text, there is a really good video where this guy talks about, the history of Burton and, the time when he was doing TV stuff. So I definitely recommend go watching that, full details and such, yeah. And the best I could say, but yeah. So again, just before Pee-wee's Big Adventure, one of the TV materials that Burton was involved in and directed was this, Aladdin and His Wonderful Lamp. And like I said, I don't think this episode of Shelley Duvall's Fairy Tale Theater was not bad. I think, as far as I recall, and looking at the ratings and such, I think this episode did pretty well. And I've also heard that Burton kind of had control doing this episode, but not fully. In fact, because, well, the casting was already taken care of, and the sets and design and such. Although, there is one part in the episode where I think, yeah, Tim Burton did get to do something with it, and we do have some Tim Burton style in there, but until I get to that. Okay, so getting into the episode itself, we're done with background now. Now we come to the episode itself, Aladdin and his wonderful lamp. Well, like with every episode of Shelley Duvall's fairy tale theater, we get an introduction of Shelley Duvall herself, talking about, and about the story of Aladdin and, his wonderful lamp, and thus, the story starts, and of course we see Agrabah. Obviously, it's supposed to be Agrabah. And we have our main character, of course, the titled character, Aladdin, being played by Robert Carradine, if I'm getting the last name right. Again, you know me sometimes. So he plays the titled character, and we do get some narration at times from a familiar voice/face, and until I get to him. But you guys probably know by now. So Aladdin, how he is in the streets of Agrabah and so on. And at one point, he gets an encounter from an evil magician, Morocco magician, I think. Yeah, that's the correct way of saying it. Being played by the late legendary Leonard Nimoy, a.k.a. Mr. Spock. Yeah, it's really cool to see that Leonard Nimoy is in something that is directed by Tim Burton. Don't you think? Like, I think that's really cool. So yeah, he plays the evil magician, and, well, like, this adaptation of Aladdin, like, this episode's, like, own Jafar, I guess you could say. Oh, pretty much. So the evil magician, and it's obvious because, well, and if anybody would figure this out when watching this episode for the first time, and the first time we see the evil magician, well, he pretends to be Aladdin's lost uncle, and basically his lost uncle being, on his father's side. And, his lost uncle, supposedly, had traveled, a long way to be here, and because of, the passing of Aladdin's father, and, well, because, as Aladdin establishes, his father died many years ago, but according to the evil magician, pretending to be his lost uncle, well, because he came far away and, traveling to Agrabah and so on. And, his supposed lost uncle, wanting to meet his mother and, have a feast, but, for Aladdin and his mother, they really don't have that much food. But that's on, his lost uncle. He buys, like, big, rich food and such, and, well, Aladdin's, supposed lost uncle meeting Aladdin's mother, and Aladdin's mother being played by the late Ray Allen. And she has no recollection of, her late husband having a brother, and according to the evil magician pretending to be the lost uncle of Aladdin, not surprised, we didn't get along. So they have a feast, and, the evil magician pretending to be the uncle, saying that, Aladdin will have a fresh, better, new life and such starting tomorrow. Buy Aladdin some fresh new clothes, and will help Aladdin start a business. And Aladdin is interested in, like, doing a marble business, because very early on, and when, Aladdin first met his supposed uncle, lost uncle, Aladdin and a bunch of friends of his were playing marbles and so on, and the evil magician grabbed one marble that rolled right to him. Okay, so the next day, Aladdin gets fresh new clothes, and, then his supposed lost uncle takes Aladdin out at the hot, dry desert and such in the middle of nowhere, and, probably and maybe because, a certain location to start the marble business, but no, because clearly would have to be, in the, Arabic, Agrabah city. Yeah. And, well, what his supposed lost uncle does is he has Aladdin go down under this cave that's down below, and, down by in the sand, under the sand, this cave buried in the sand, I should say, and to fetch a lamp. And, you know, the evil magician, still pretending to be his lost uncle, kind of giving Aladdin a hard time, and just telling him to do so, to get down there, but Aladdin just refusing to do it, because he's scared of what could be down there. But, you know, the evil magician, as his uncle, is not having it, and, well, you know, pushing Aladdin down there, but gave him something to protect himself. And, you know, the evil magician, as his uncle, warned him about some things, like not to let it happen in the cave, like, touch the walls and he'll die, and so on. You know, the only thing that he can touch is, of course, the lamp. So Aladdin going through the Cave of Wonders, and this is where, in the Cave of Wonders, and from what I've heard, that Burton got to put his own style in the Cave of Wonders. And I think it definitely shows, because, you know, in the Cave of Wonders, and when Aladdin finds and comes face to face with the lamp, yeah, you can definitely tell, and with, like, the walls and such, like, you know, these shadowy, shaped figures of, like, say, a cat and bat and so on, definitely in that Tim Burton style. And when Aladdin grabs the lamp, then just, technically all hell breaks loose, and just, like, those shadowy figures coming at the camera, their eyes, like, we see glowing red eyes, and Aladdin making a run for it, trying to get out of the cave, and, well, when coming up to where he was pushed and such, the evil magician, as his uncle, you know, wanting to have the lamp first, and then he'll pull up Aladdin. But Aladdin, not having it, because he wants to be pulled up first, but, well, the evil magician, no, because he wants the lamp. And I think, yeah, that's when Aladdin realizes that, you know, this guy is not his lost uncle, and never had an uncle, and yeah. And the evil magician just leaves him there to just, you know, alone down in the cave, and yeah, didn't even take the lamp. He, like, Aladdin still has the lamp. Okay, I mean, the evil magician wanted it, but no, because he didn't, because, like, Aladdin still has it. So that's on you. You didn't get the lamp. But anyways, so Aladdin now stuck in the cave, and because in this position, and we see as the camera pans, like, there's a skeleton in that same pose as Aladdin is, and he thinks that, you know, he'll die and such. But luckily, he manages to have a ring, a magic ring, that has a genie in it, which was, it is in the Aladdin story itself, and it's nice that they incorporated that in this. I mean, you know, so, I mean, Disney's Aladdin didn't do that, but I think somehow it worked, not having the magic ring that has a genie. So yeah, Aladdin, like, rubs his fingers, and with that, you know, the ring that he's wearing, and well, out pops a genie from the ring. Yeah, named Genie from the Ring, and the Genie from the Ring, Genie of the Ring, being played by the legendary and good old James Earl Jones. Yeah, good old James Earl Jones is the Genie of the Ring, and I'll go ahead and say this, he also plays the Genie of the Lamp. So, yeah, it's cool to see both Leonard Nimoy and James Earl Jones, Mr. Spock, and the voice of Darth Vader in something directed by Tim Burton. Don't you think? I just think that's really awesome. Something you wouldn't expect. And I'm sure you guys probably didn't know that until now. But anyways, so yeah, a bit of an interaction with the Genie of the Ring between him and Aladdin. And well, Aladdin makes a wish to get out of the cave, and the Genie of the Ring does so. And so, yeah, Aladdin is now free from the cave, and, well, he does return home to his mother, and, well, yeah, tells his mother that, yeah, that man who's said to be his lost uncle never was, and telling his mother that, yeah, like, that was an evil magician, and, you know, just using Aladdin and just to get the lamp. But, again, thankfully, Aladdin still had the lamp. And, well, because then, at one point, Aladdin, you know, he's cleaning the lamp, but of course he's rubbing it, because, you know, it's a, you know, an old-looking lamp and such, but, you know, Aladdin thinks he can clean it up and make it, you know, nice and shiny and new and so on, and when he starts cleaning it, but rubbing it, of course, well, out pops the genie of the lamp, and this even caused Aladdin's mother to pass out at the sight of the genie of the lamp. And yeah, the genie of the ring, he was very calm and so on towards Aladdin. The genie of the lamp, James Earl Jones playing the genie of the lamp, can, I think, pretty much all the time, just going over the top. But honestly, in my opinion, I guess that works for the genie of the lamp in this. So, and yeah, James Earl Jones, how he looks and appears as the genie of the lamp, I mean, sometimes creepy looking, and especially that over-the-top laugh. And even at times, like, you know, like threatening Aladdin or something, but of course, you know, the genie of the lamp joking. And also, fun fact, apparently, because James Earl Jones was wearing braces when playing the genie of the lamp. Okay, I'm not sure for both genies, but I don't know, because I did read that James Earl Jones was wearing braces. And one of the first wishes that Aladdin wishes from the genie of the lamp is food, because, I mean, Aladdin can't help himself because he's thinking of food and such, and, well, Genie, you know, then, you know, has food, and, well, you know, Aladdin asks the genie of the lamp to go back into the lamp so, you know, he can, you know, wake up his mom and, you know, they can feast and such, and, you know, Aladdin, he wants to keep the lamp, but his mother's not sure, but, you know, after convincing her some more, yeah, she gives in, and, you know, thus Aladdin now has the lamp. But, you know, just to keep it out of sight from her, so, because of what she saw and what made her pass out. Okay, so, then, yeah, the next day in Agrabah, well, the princess arrives into town, you know, the markets, and the princess in this is Princess Sabrina, being played by Valerie Bertinelli, if I'm getting her last name right. Again, you know me sometimes. So she plays Princess Sabrina, and everybody just, like, scattering when they hear that the princess is coming. And Aladdin, he hid himself in one of those, you know, jars. And he did take a peek, and he saw the princess, and the princess saw him, and she smiled at him, and, well, right there, Aladdin, he falls in love with the princess. And then he goes to his mother, and he tells his mother that he's in love and he wants to get married. And he explains that, you know, he wants to marry the princess of the Sultan. And she is just shocked by this, and, like, marrying the princess, and if any risk, just, yeah. But Aladdin, because he convinces his mother, and then when we come to the Sultan's palace, and the Sultan being played by the late Joseph Mayer. Now, Joseph Mayer, great actor, of course, he worked with Tim Burton before in the live-action Frankenweenie short film. Yeah, he was in that. And it was great to see that he worked with Burton once again in this. So yeah, he plays the Sultan, and there's also the great Vizier, if I'm saying that right, Vizier, sounds about right, yeah. The Grand Vizier being played by Ray Sharkey. I'm pretty sure I am pronouncing his last name right. The Sultan, we see that the Sultan seems like rather a nice Sultan, I guess. He's really fascinated and likes a lot of, you know, neat contraptions and gadgets. And one of them that we see, like, there's one moment where there's a box and he opens it, and apparently there are these singing lips. How do you explain that? How do I explain that? I can't. It's just there. It's weird me saying it, but it's true. That's what appears on screen. Like, what kind of, like, where did the Sultan get that anyways? But anyways, then Aladdin's mother arrives at the palace and meeting the Sultan, and tells the Sultan that her son is in love with the princess and wants to marry her. And, well, obviously, it was Aladdin that did this and gave it to his mother, giving a gift to the Sultan. And nice rubies and so on. But the Grand Vizier, well, he has something planned up his sleeves, and he doesn't like the sound of this, and, you know, whom wants to marry the Sultan's daughter. He turns to the Sultan, and, you know, he's considering to marry his daughter. So now it's a competition between Aladdin and the Grand Vizier, you know, and the Sultan will decide whom it'll be to marry his daughter. And Aladdin's mother giving her son the news. He's excited about this, even giving this news to his friends, you know, in the streets of Agrabah. But, you know, they laugh about it because what they heard was that the Grand Vizier is going to marry the princess. And Aladdin, of course, being upset by this. And he's considering if he wants to, you know, wish the genie to do something. And, of course, he does. He wishes for the Grand Vizier to be put aside and, meet with the princess himself, Aladdin. And the genie of the lamp asks if he could scare the Grand Vizier, and Aladdin tells him, yeah, just a little. So that's what happens. The genie takes the Grand Vizier aside, scaring him some, and the genie having Aladdin come face-to-face with the princess in her bedchamber. So Aladdin and the princess meet and have a good interaction and such, and she remembers Aladdin. She remembers seeing him in the streets of Agrabah when he was hiding in a jar, in that one jar. And it was funny when, because seeing the genie of the lamp scaring the Grand Vizier, again, if I am pronouncing that right, Grand Vizier, I think so. And you can let me know if I am pronouncing it right. Anyways. So, and to speed things up, because they do get married at some point. Even when Aladdin, he wished for the genie to make this special, like, you know, gadget and such with, these, like, tiny figures inside of this box, and to give it to the Sultan, and the Sultan was intrigued by this. And thus, Aladdin and the princess get married, and for the evil magician, because when we come back to him at one point, well, he's just upset, and because he doesn't have the lamp, well, that's on him, because he left it with Aladdin when, you know, leaving him down there, buried in the cave. So there's one moment where he pulls out a medallion, a golden skull or something, asking it, you know, if he's gonna have the lamp by tomorrow or something, and in response it says no, and no, what do you mean no? And because, you know, he wants that lamp so badly, because for Aladdin and Sabrina, I almost said Jasmine. Good thing I was quick enough to correct myself. Because Aladdin asks the genie, wishing for there to be a palace / house for him and his now wife, and he asks the genie to do it by tomorrow, and that being Monday. But the genie of the lamp, and, you know, like I said, him, like, going over the top multiple times, and even, like, sometimes being, like, threatening to Aladdin, well, because he kind of gets angry, and, you know, Mondays are for us, are when genies take a day off and such. And, and how is Aladdin supposed to know? So, you know, he apologizes, and he recommends that, well, you know, he can do it by Tuesday. And the genie's okay with it, of course, you know, you're forgiven. So, thus, the genie does so on Tuesday, building a home for Aladdin and Sabrina. Again, I was again almost about to say Jasmine. Sabrina, Princess Sabrina. So, an additional part of the Sultan's palace is built for Aladdin and Princess Sabrina, being a part of the palace, basically. So thus, they're happily living in their new home in the palace, and, unfortunately, things start to go pretty wrong, because, well, with the evil magician still trying to get his hands on the lamp, well, there was one moment where, and to speed things up, because Princess Sabrina noticed and asked her, like, servant, I want to say? Yeah. To, because she noticed that, you know, rusty, dirty old, like, it wasn't really rusty, just, old, dirty lamp, she felt as though that maybe her now husband should have a much better looking lamp. But little did she know that lamp was important to her husband and having a genie in it. So she has her, maiden servant, I guess you could say, to get rid of the lamp and, lady servant, because the lady servant was played by Martha Velez, if I'm saying that right. There's a Z at the end of her last name, yeah. So the lady servant, takes the old lamp away, and we see the evil magician, trying to sell off some lamps, and eventually, the lady servant turns to the evil magician. She can see that, he's selling some lamps, and she gives the evil magician the lamp, and, he's happy to have it, and he has everybody around him just scatter, and so on. So, now he has the genie, the genie's lamp, and thus he rubs it, and now the genie of the lamp now serves the evil magician. And what happens when now he has the lamp of the genie? He wishes for the home of Aladdin and Princess Sabrina to disappear and to, be out in, the hot desert, and thus the genie of the lamp does so. But, however, Aladdin just so happened to not be in the home, because he was away for a little while, but the princess is still in their home. So, yeah, she's in it, and thus, yeah, the home had disappeared, and when Aladdin returned, because, Aladdin, the Sultan, and the Great Vizier, they can see that it's gone, and it's, they assume, and the Grand Vizier, just being too much, and how he despises Aladdin, and the fact that, he won the princess, telling the Sultan that maybe possibly Aladdin is behind this, the disappearance of the home of him and the princess, and, kidnapping the princess and so on. But how? Because Aladdin, and as he clearly established to them, he was away for just a little while and he came back. So seriously? Like, what makes you think? Why would the Sultan think so? Why would he believe the Grand Vizier anyways? He technically does. And Aladdin says that he will find the home and, his wife / the Sultan's daughter. But if he fails trying to find the home and the princess, then, the Sultan can have him be thrown away in the dungeon and so on. So yeah, then, of course, Aladdin proceeding on trying to find his wife and their home, and one of Aladdin's friends saying that they know the location and where the home is, but just giving him a hard time. Oh my gosh, he's now married to the princess. Show him some respect, will ya? And one day Aladdin would become the Sultan, prince, you get what I'm saying. Golly, just at a time like this and what just happened, they have to give him a hard time? Jeez. And Aladdin, because now he's made his way further, into the dry, hot desert, at one point he thinks that, yeah, he's not gonna find, his and his wife's home and, the princess being in there still, and he might as well just accept, being locked up and so on. But luckily, he does have, still has the ring, the genie of the ring that contains the genie, and, rubbing it, and out pops the genie of the ring, and helping Aladdin, assisting him, and wishing that, he can find where the princess is and their home, and, this is where we see Aladdin's magic carpet. The genie of the ring providing the magic carpet, and the magic carpet knows its way where to find Aladdin's wife and their home, and thus, and at their home, and the princess being there, the evil magician obviously being there, and intimidating the princess, and, and of course it's obvious because with the evil magician wanting, the genie of the lamp in his hands, his possession and such, wanting to rule all of Agrabah. It's pretty obvious. And, well, he wants to marry the princess. But, of course, Princess Sabrina just not gonna do this and anything but, the evil magician threatening her. And thankfully, because at one point the evil magician, he walked off, and then Aladdin stepped in and, telling his wife that everything will be okay. And, well, he did have an idea, and the princess going along with this, yeah, and she knows where Aladdin is going with this idea he has. Aladdin goes hiding and then the evil magician comes back, and then the princess pretends to, flirt with the evil magician, and, Aladdin pops out, and, with having the genie of the lamp helping out Aladdin, of course, because, Aladdin obviously, talked with the genie of the lamp on what to do, and thus they defeat the evil magician once and for all. And even when the evil magician, buddy, it's too late for you, buddy, because you had what was coming to you when the evil magician was said, can we talk this out, and so on. So what happens to the evil magician is, he is put in a gadget, a box, and a gift for the Sultan. So that's basically, in a way, the evil magician's, prison and so on. Yeah, just being tormented by these tiny figures in this box. Yeah, pretty amusing. And also, a humorous way of, torturing the evil magician, his punishment, and so on. So, that's it for the evil magician. He's defeated once and for all. And all ends well for Aladdin and the princess getting to meet the genie of the lamp. And I would assume maybe, she also got to meet the genie of the ring. We don't see it on screen, but I just assume. And yeah, all ends well, and, one of the last shots we get is Aladdin and his now wife, the princess, riding on the magic carpet and making their way to the city of Agrabah and, at the palace. And yeah, that was a nice way to end it. A happily ever after, of course. Episode 1 of Season 5 of Shelley Duvall's fairy tale theater, Aladdin and His Wonderful Lamp. Again, I thought it was a pretty good episode, and again, this being the first fully episode of Shelley Duvall's fairy tale theater that I've seen. What Shelley Duvall's fairy tale theater brought, adapting the story of Aladdin, the episode and the story itself, I thought was pretty good. The casting and, the characters, the sets and designs, and the music and score. Just everything about, Aladdin and His Wonderful Lamp from Shelley Duvall's fairy tale theater, I thought was pretty good. And, Tim Burton, he did his best with this episode, and with the cast of this episode, I think definitely, and there's no doubt about it, James Earl Jones and Leonard Nimoy being the highlights of this episode. And I don't think it matters if James Earl Jones was going over the top, yeah. Because let's face it, we all love James Earl Jones. Yeah, so I don't see anything wrong with this, him being over the top at times, when playing the Genie of the Lamp. Yeah, especially just the Genie of the Lamp being over the top. Yeah. So yeah, again, and overall, Aladdin and His Wonderful Lamp, the first episode of Season 5 of Shelley Duvall's fairy tale theater, I think was a pretty good one. And I'm giving this episode, it's on my mind, I'm giving it 8 out of 10 stars. Yes, 8 out of 10 stars for Aladdin and His Wonderful Lamp from Shelley Duvall's fairy tale theater. And what about you guys? What did you think of this episode itself from Shelley Duvall's fairy tale theater? Have any of you seen anything of Shelley Duvall's fairy tale theater? Are you aware of this show's existence? Have you seen any of the episodes? And especially this one? Who do you think was great in this episode? again, the big ones, obviously, have to be Leonard Nimoy and James Earl Jones. And like I said, it's awesome to see that the voice of Darth Vader and Mr. Spock were in something directed by Tim Burton. Yeah. You know, did you like what was brought to, you know, this adaptation of the story of Aladdin, and what, you know, being directed by Tim Burton, the sets and designs? Yeah, just overall, what do you think of the episode itself, and with what I've had to say, my review, and yeah, what did you think of my review? Leave comments and give this review video a like, as always. And so, with all that being said, thank you very much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed my review of Aladdin and His Wonderful Lamp, the first episode of Season 5 from Shelley Duvall's Fairy Tale Theater. More review videos are coming your way. They're going to be awesome. Keep looking forward, and I'll see you guys in the next video/review. Take care. Peace out, happy birthday to Tim Burton, and rest in peace, Shelley Duvall.